Let's keep that in there.
Yep.
All right, welcome to the 15th Floor, a Radiohead reaction podcast, where a Radiohead fan, Gen X father, tries to convince his Gen Z Radiohead illiterate son that Radiohead is, in fact, the greatest band of all time. This is episode 3, and we're going to do Let Down from the 1997 masterpiece, OK Computer. What do you know about Let Down?
I know it's from OK Computer, and I think OK Computer is one of your more top albums. Is that correct?
Okay. Thank you so much for all the likes and all the comments. You guys have been very nice about your comments and your subscribes. Subscribes?
Subscribers.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Well, they are subscribers,
Yeah.
subscribing, and it's a subscribe.
Yeah.
I think we got it. Comments that came up. We fixed the headphone thing. There's been a lot of comments about that on the There video, but of course we've got a great way around that now. Somebody asked if we have the lyrics in front of Jacob. Jacob does have the lyrics in front of him. He likes to see the lyrics. I have a copy of the lyrics, but they're face down because I don't need to know the lyrics. I know what they are. But I like to keep notes on the back just in case there's something I want to mention so I don't interrupt Jacob and his reaction. Somebody asked me, you know, okay, I want to get into Radiohead. What should I listen to? That's a really hard question, but I am going to give my basic advice. This is not my favorite album to least favorite or anything like that. This is just my, if you're trying to get into Radiohead or if you want to listen to Radiohead and get ahead of us, this is what I would do. This is the order I would do it if I were a Gen Xer trying to get into Radiohead. I would start with the Bends. It's a very rock-driven, no big surprises in the Bends. Then I would go to OK Computer. It's the next album chronologically, and it's also a next step up from the Bends. Then I would probably skip forward to In Rainbows. In Rainbows, you'd still have those melodies, but you'd start to get a really good idea of what they're doing with music and with looping and with recording. And then go back to either Hail to the Thief or Kid A from that point. And then vice versa. If you did Kid A, go to Hail to the Thief. From there, you'll be hooked. You can go anywhere you want in the library. It's not saying that Moonshaped Pool, The King of Limbs, or Pablo Honey is not going to get you into Radiohead, but if you want to dive in, go in that order, and then you won't even need my advice after that. You'll know exactly where to go. And then there's, of course, a number of songs and that are not available on those albums. Radiohead is very prolific, and we're going to do a number of those reactions because it just so happens that my favorite Radiohead song of all time is not on one of their albums. So, if you're wondering how we're picking the songs, absolutely, comment in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you'd really recommend we do next. I've got it all laid out in my mind, but there's no reason why we can't break away from that. We're going to go into Let Down, track number 5. But Let Down is from 1997's OK Computer. It is regularly regarded as one of the great rock albums of the 90s and of all time. It still makes those lists. And Let Down was supposed to be the lead single, but it was just not, with the video and things like that, not fitting the band's preferences well enough. They actually never released it necessarily as a single. So, but it's a great song. And are you ready to hear it?
Yep.
You will not be let down.
Oh, I see what you did there.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. I like pausing it every time the intro stops and he starts to sing just because I want to talk about the intro. The guitar reminds me of that one song by Travis, Driftwood.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
And I like Driftwood, so that kind of helps this song out a lot. And then the drums come in for a nice beat to let the audience know that Tom York is about to sing, which is
great.
Just what I observed from what the song does.
So in the recording, it is a guitar. It's Johnny on his Fender. In live performances early on, he would actually switch to a Rhodes piano. A Rhodes piano works just like a regular piano. Ultimately, it's you hit a key and a hammer comes up and hits the strings. On a Rhodes piano, it hits tines, like a tuning fork almost, and those are electronic, so it gives it a slight tingy sound. But here it's just straight up guitar.
do not like the fact how I need to have the lyrics to know what he's saying. Like, even looking at the lyrics, I could hear clearly motorways. Just like basically the start of every line here. So it's like motorways starting, taking off, the empty, like just. It's really hard to understand what he's saying for the most part, and that's kind of annoying.
So try this. Flip it over and don't listen to the lyrics and see how much that even matters. Boom. Now we got him.
Even without the lyrics, I still think it's really it's just weird to think of a guy singing and it sounds like an instrument instead of a guy singing.
Okay. I think that's fair because I think one of the strong points of Tom York is that he is an instrument. His voice is an instrument.
I get that you like the not in the same time signature, but I think that throws everything off and really weird to listen to.
What weird is to your first listen, beautiful is to every listen afterwards. It's amazing. That's you pointed out, because I pointed it out. Johnny Greenwood is playing a completely different time signature right there. You can hear his guitar, and it works so well right there. It's very good.
I don't know about that. So how does that? So he is like, you can hear him saying one day, and then he's continuing that. But then also while he's saying one day, it sounds like him saying, "I'm gonna grow wings."
Yes. So in a recording studio, that's all Tom York. He can just loop it. Not loop it. He can just overdub it. So he's singing both parts there. In a live recording, when he goes up into that descant, that's Tom York that you're gonna hear nail this falsetto. And yeah, it's coming up. And Ed O'Brien is actually singing the "I am going to grow wings, a chemical reaction." In a lot of live versions now, Ed O'Brien doesn't even sing anything, and you just hear Tom York do the descant. And I don't have any evidence to back this up, but I like to believe it's because Ed O'Brien is so mesmerized by the awesomeness of Tom York's part that he's like, "Oh crap, I forgot to sing. Whatever. It sounded great." I think that's what's happening. I'm doing it like he's a bass. No, he's a guitar player.
Yes, that must be it.
I think that's what it is. I think if you asked Ed O'Brien, say, hey, Scott has this theory, it's that you are so mesmerized that you forget to sing your part, I think he'd say, "You got me, you nailed me."
I felt like that was the worst song we listened to so far.
You thought that was worse?
I think There There and High and Dry were better.
What didn't you like about this song?
The fact that Tom York's voice sounded like just another instrument. I really like it when I can maybe not completely understand, but I know there's a guy singing and there's lyrics and real words going through my brain.
You're gonna get hammered by the Radiohead fans. Yeah, you've got to comment, Radiohead fans, and let him know why he's wrong about that. And maybe I've got an older son who probably will appreciate this more. Hey, Kellen! Never mind. But man, alive, that's beautiful. Oh, that's a great song. And I know if you remember this song on the radio, and before that final chorus comes in, you're like, I swear it gets louder right there. I remember it getting louder. It doesn't get louder. That's exactly how it's recorded. You only think it gets louder because you always cranked it up when it was coming. That's why you think it gets louder. Oh my gosh. And then when Tom York hits those notes, oh my gosh. And when you're singing along in your car, which you are naturally doing, you got to decide. Am I going to sing the lower part? Am I going to sing the higher part? Am I going to make up my own part and become a sixth member of Radiohead? And you never know which one you're going to get. Usually it's the sixth member thing. Right?
No. I thought the real instrumentals were good. Again, the guitar is probably the most important instrument in a song, because the guitar gives it the nice rhythm and the nice sound to any song. The drums were good. I mean, the drums can't really be bad. They're always just there.
Well, the drums bring in that entire excitement that comes up when you turn up your radio. So it's the drums that reminds you I'm supposed to be turning this up right now. I will talk a little bit about the meaning of this song. The meaning is like a lot of songs, it's observational for Tom York. He observed something, and then the lyrics started flowing. And here he mentions that he was, I believe, in like a pub or a bar, and he was just observing people, and he had this idea that what if they were so stuck to their bottles, they were just so, after their lives at corporate, in the corporate world, whatever they did all day long, they were just glued to their bottles, so much so that if the floor collapsed and fell out below them, they could hold onto their bottles and they'd all be hanging only by their bottles, as without a floor beneath them. The lyrics, he talks about sentimentality, don't get sentimental. And one of the Radiohead band members, I feel, maybe Johnny, said that the letdown is sentimentality, which is being sentimental is being emotional for the sake of being emotional, which is a very Gen X thing. We get very sentimental about things in our past and our history. And that's why I like that little bass hook at the end of every chorus, because I feel like that's a very simple primary tune. That dum 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 dum. I always thought when I'd hear this song before, that sounds like If You're Happy and You Know It. Like the last line, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And that's not what it is, but it is a simple tune like that makes you reminiscent, right? Makes you feel reminiscent about music of your childhood. In a way, the song is kind of mocking sentimentality, but it's funny that it makes me feel exactly what Tom York is singing about, that he's kind of poking fun at. But I don't care. If I ever meet Tom York, I'll just tell him, that's a beautiful song. Sentimentality is great, by the way.
And he would not care.
He wouldn't care at all. He'd say, how did you get past security? I hate to ask, because I love Let Down, and you're going to break my heart, whatever you say. What's your score?
A 5.
A 5. Isn't a 5 like a song you don't...
It is
an average song.
It is an average song. I don't hate it. I just would not want... I just don't prefer it. I just don't really want to listen to it.
Yeah, 5. Boy. So here's what I implore anybody, whether it's the first time you've ever heard the song, or you love Radiohead and you know that 5 is a wrong score. Please, you got to let Jacob know. Be nice to him. He's my son. Don't bully him, of course. But bully him a little bit. Tell him why he's wrong about Let Down. Let Down is not my favorite song from OK Computer. It really isn't. It's hard to pick songs to introduce you, because part of me wants to just throw down my favorite songs at you. That's not fair, because then we're going to be listening to a bunch of other songs, which are all great, but everyone will know I'm just throwing all the hits at you. Oh, you can convince anybody with a greatest hits album. Let Down, it would make it makes the best of Radiohead, but it isn't my favorite song on this album, and really not by a long shot. However, not being my favorite song on one of my favorite albums of all time still makes it way better than a 5. You'll feel bad about that later.
For the people at home, you don't need to comment down below, because I have basically all of you guys in one person telling me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, but they catch so much more, and they don't have to be as nice to you as I do.
I'm not going to like every song. You can't expect me to like every song.
Oh, 5. If you know this album, you've just come off of Exit Music, which is a gut-wrenching song, and then you're heading into Karma Police, which if you know it, you're excited about it. Let Down is the perfect transition of simple, fun, arpeggio guitar, everything that just makes a song fun and listenable.
I think some of your liking towards the song is just nostalgic.
Sentimental.
Yeah, sentimental and nostalgic.
And it always ends up drivel. One day I'm gonna grow wings. I got lost in the lyrics. Let's talk a little bit about what these drawings are in front of you. Very hard to see drawings today, but of course I'll put them up. This is my daughter's drawing. I think she was just mesmerized by the arpeggio guitar and the spacey sounds early on in the song. So she just kind of put her colored pencil on the paper and just let it wander like a roller coaster. She did say, "A lot of feelings happen to me." And then my son's drawing is a drawing of a star up there in the corner. That's a sun in the other corner, and that's him screaming, "I love this song." Yeah, and he liked it. He was really into it. He gave it more than a 5. Please like, comment below. If you want to hear the song in its entirety, we'll put it in the description. Please go give it a listen. Give it a fair shake. And add it to your playlist so that you can listen to it regularly and enjoy it the way that you should. Also, if you have any suggestions, if you're from my list before, don't comment on my list. My list was my list, and it was my opinion. It's subjective. But if you want to make your own list of what if someone was starting to listen to Radiohead, what order they would listen to the albums in. Again, it's not a favorite to least favorite. It's a what order would you do to really dive in or introduce somebody to Radiohead? Not a song by song, but an album by album, because I've got a number of listeners who have mentioned that they're just listening to it in the background, which is silly. Pay attention. But, put it in the order that you think someone would like to listen to and get into those albums. We're going to try to post new videos about every 4 days. So I know it's been a little bit longer since the last video, but we've got a couple loaded up in the chamber now, and we're ready to post them fairly regularly. All right, continue to love one another. Keep listening to music together. And this has been
The 15th Floor.